welcome to episode 181 of Drew Sports Crew here on this Monday night. Myself, Drew Skyberg, bringing you the news in the Wisconsin sports world. And look, it was quite the weekend. I made another ballpark this year. Just keep knocking them off the list. Minneapolis went to the Twin Cities. Finally caught a game there at Target Field, and it was interesting. I got the Carlos Correa jersey. I don't have it here. They had a giveaway jersey. City Can't. It's a really nice jersey, but I'll get into that, my review on that stadium here in a minute. Just want to get through the announcements as we start. We'll talk through the Packers, wrap up their preseason. And they're ready to go for the opener in Brazil. We'll talk a little on that. They made a little trade today, too. Can't forget about that. Malik Willis, you are a Green Bay Packer. We'll also go through the Brewers' nice weekend victory, series win in Oakland, a farewell last series for them in Oakland ever, right? Or maybe relocation or maybe a new expansion team. We'll see on that, but that's what it looks like for the time being. But otherwise, we'll touch on that, how they've performed. Gary Sanchez makes the thumbnail today. Had a nice weekend, really did. He's been coming up, getting some good at-bats, playing DH when they need to. They faced, some lefties, and he's able to fill in there as well. So that's been good to see, and that's how he gets the nod there. At True Sports Crew was the last announcement. No transition there. On all social media platforms, been doing LB team rankings, right? NFL running back rankings. You'll see that'll come out Wednesday. Things like that, right? We're getting ready for fantasy football season. We're getting ready, right? Baseball's right in the thick of it here. So check all that content at Drew Sports Crew or Drew Sports Crew. You can find it at YouTube, TikTok, or on Instagram. You find it anywhere on those platforms, or just use the link tree down below. A lot of good options. That's what I would recommend here. Looking like for Wednesday for Journey to a Million this week. So be back right with football right in the thick of it. Definitely want to talk about what's all going on here, and let's get into it. We're going to do a little game to warm up as always. Just an immaculate draft today, as we got a good chunk of things to get over on the show. Immaculate draft, 9 up, 9 down. Hopefully, we'll see how we do. Last week didn't go so hot. They threw some little league stuff in, and some things I just tough to know about. So here we go. We got our Drew Sports Crew in the background. They changed up how they put the video. Okay, I'm down in the bottom right. I didn't expect this. If you're watching on the air, we got question 1 here. Name one of the 4 players that have hit a home run as a teenager and after turning 40. Wow. I think Hank Aaron did it. I think he did. Ooh. This is a longevity. Oh, Ken Griffey did it. Did he make it to 40 though? Ooh. I don't know if he made it to 40. He played for 21 years though. He had to have made it to 40. It's Hank Aaron or Griffey. He did play 21 years. I did nail that. I'm going to say him. Okay, neither guy I said was right. A-Rod, I should have came up with A-Rod. I wouldn't have gotten Cobb. That would not have been a name. Or Rusty Staub. This stadium is home to which MLB franchise? Is that Angels Stadium? I think it is. Some of these, sometimes you get these wrong just because you can't see the stadium. Like I'm sure if I saw the left field, because what stands out at the Padres Stadium left field, it gets really small in here. Not a good start, but Padres is pretty distinctive in left field. You see that I don't know what it's called, but they iconic venue there. The Angels won a game 25-1 in 2023 against which MLB team? I'm not sure. I remember this game. This game was crazy. I thought it was the Rangers. That was the first name, but Rangers put up 30 runs. They had a game in like the mid-2000s where they did that. That's a good YouTube find if you want to see that. I think it was the Rangers. But also, it feels like it should be the Athletics. It was the Rockies. So, 0 for 3. Which Which pitcher was called for the first regular season pitch clock violation in MLB season history? It was Nationals. Was it a guy in the Nationals? Kyle Finnegan gets a lot of them. I don't know. I think it should be a starter, but I'm gonna say it was Finnegan. Marcus Stroman. Okay. So far, not good, but these are tough. The Mitt is a famous sculpture that sits outside. That's San Francisco. I mean, they have one in left field. I don't know if it's outside as well. So they have one. Seattle has one outside. San Francisco has theirs in left field, the famous glove statue. Which MLB pitcher threw 16 pitches on a broken leg? This might be one of the worst ones. I usually get 4 or 5 of these. These are tough today. I don't know. Kurt Schilling played not on a broken leg. Charlie Morton, I did not know he broke his leg in that World Series. What team lost the 2014 ALCS? Angels made the division round. Was it the Orioles? I think it was the Orioles. Because, yeah, okay, we're on the board. We're finally on the board. What a tough one. Well, who is the only pitcher with an immaculate inning this year? Is it Glass now? I don't remember. Kopech. Oh, yeah, he did do it. All right, this is a tough one. What team lost the 2019 LCS? I should be able to do this. Nationals. Who the Nationals beat to make the World Series? So they beat the Brewers. We know that, the wild card round. The Cardinals were the division. Cardinals, Braves were in the divisional round in the NLDS, and then it was Nationals and someone else. Nationals beat either it was like the Dodgers, someone like that. I'm gonna say it was the Braves because the Cardinals did not make the CS that year. They were not that good. I think it was the Braves. It was the Cardinals. They did make it then. Wow. Well, I thought it out well. An immaculate draft to forget to say the least. But come on, who's gonna know? Some of those in there were just really tough, really tough. And I consider myself a MLB trivia nut, and just got humbled there. Let's go into the Packers. We're gonna pivot from there to football. Let's do it. Look, Packers had their final preseason game, a good sellout for them. Didn't beat Detroit though. Detroit sold out everything, standing room only included. That was a sight to see at Ford Field in Detroit. But look, Packers, they get the job done. They won 30-7. It was a really bitter second half. Only 10 points. Fourth quarter, nothing there. But look, this was mostly how these last preseason games. I just almost said it. It's practice squad guys. So it's practice squad versus practice squad. It's kind of what we see. Really, what mattered was, okay, the backup quarterback job, how's that looking? Or in this Packers case, you actually have a kicking competition at this point of camp, which is pretty interesting to see. It's Greg Joseph and Anders Carlson. Joseph makes the 55-yarder, puts them up, or he gets that in and that gets them on the board. That was at the end of the game there, but that was Carlson to start is what I meant. 54-yarder. He made it. And then they've been alternating. They had Greg Joseph get the 36-yarder. Carlson's actually been the better guy when you break down the numbers, including practice and such. It's been close. It's been a couple kicks here and there. Carlson definitely has the better leg, though. So it's tough on where you want to go with that. But they each got some work. There's 3 field goals for the Packers in this one. All the extra points were made. Sean Clifford got in work. Michael Pratt did as well. Both played good. I'd say good. They didn't play great, and that's kind of where a decision being made. Clifford not as great as Pratt, and then Pratt also threw a pick. So it's like, okay, who are they going to go with at quarterback? And really, what it came down to was, looking at Clifford. They really want a solid backup is how it's been perceived all of camp has been. They want someone to stand out and make an impact. And look, they felt that none of the guys internally were maybe fit to be that backup. We saw 2 years ago already, the Titans, they took Malik Willis in the 3rd round. They tried to get him going. They ended up just going with Levis. Then he ended up not really panning out for them. They ended up getting him for a 2025 seventh rounder. So next year's draft in Green Bay, the seventh rounder. Um, so they get Willis they have him for 2 years. So, he had a decent preseason. He's played well. Obviously wasn't the starter there. Will Levis there, um, starting games for them. But look, Willis brings, some promise as a potential backup, and I think he'll be more fit than Clifford. It sounds like they're going to actually release Clifford, which I didn't expect. I expected one of the two guys. I guess it kind of makes sense because Pratt, um, they're going to try to stick with him. They just drafted him, I assume. So that's what we'll see. We'll see what guys are safe. I think Emmanuel Wilson will be safe. He's been a guy who's been on the fringe. We've talked about a few other guys too. We'll break those down once we get the final cuts and such next week on the show, right before the season starts. It's exciting. Um, but yeah, the Willis trade, I'd say for the value they got him for, why not take a shot on him, right? You'll give up a 2025 seventh. Those guys, the guys in the seventh round, there's a shot. There's a couple of linemen, defensive line, some interior guys, maybe a linebacker who end up panning out. Once in a while, you'll see a receiver. We talk Brock Purdy, but most of the time, right, we're gonna see guys who don't really fit, right, who don't really fit in a scheme or don't really make a team. So that is the trade, and that is what the team's looking like. But overall, it was again a great win in front of the home crowd. Defense played well. That's really the story. But again, it was like Josh Johnson for the Ravens, and not a whole lot. It's preseason again, but just a good way to end preseason. The preseason, I'd say, nonetheless. So that is the Packer update on that. Again, season is just coming very close here. It's a Friday night game. It's on Peacock. I do want to mention that for those who are not aware, that game will be on Peacock to start the year. That's Friday, September 6th, 7:15 p.m. Friday night kickoff the year for Green Bay. I'm excited for that game. It'll be a fun one. And let's hope for a nice win. But otherwise, let's get into the Brewers. Let's talk through them here for the last half of the show. Look at the postseason. We're getting there, right? Right when football starts up, we have baseball season winding down, and we're getting into the pennant chase. Hopefully, we see, right. We're near in September. Usually, you want to be a good chunk of games up, and Brewers try 10 games up. You love to see that, but look, this past week it started well and it ended well. In the middle, there wasn't that great. I want to highlight, right, the Cardinals. They win 3-2 on Tuesday. It was a nice win for them. Wednesday was one of those. They had two losses this week that was on the more frustrating end of losses, I'd say, out of this year. And it goes to Wednesday. Wednesday's loss against the Cardinals, where they gave the walk-off grand slam. Devin Williams blows the game in the ninth. He just couldn't throw a strike. We saw 30 plus pitches and just didn't look great. And now he's dealing with some injury stuff again, supposedly. So very worried about that. We're going to be monitoring his status. He sounds more day-to-day right now, but the point is strikes weren't being thrown. There was more talk on Pat Murphy left him out there. He trusted his best reliever, and he threw 4 straight balls, which he couldn't find the strike zone. It was just frustrating that, he couldn't get the job done. But you think for Pat Murphy, you can't hate the call. I mean, the bullpen's been fairly, been used a lot recently, and still more guys injured. Nick Mears being added to the IL this week. So, it's thin, and that's where you want to rely on more guys, and sometimes it doesn't work out. So, um, that is what we saw. And then on Wednesday they get shut, or Thursday they get shut out. I meant, which was like, okay, 3-0 loss. That game had a whole lot of nothing. You would have thought they would have got to Miles Michaelis. I was shocked. They usually, in the last 2 seasons, they usually pin him for 5-6 runs a start, and didn't see that this time. He hung in there, pitched pretty well in the day game there. They get to win 3-0. Brewers lose that series, unfortunately, though. But what I was saying was Brewers won the first, and the Cardinals won the last 2 in that one. And then the Athletics, Brewers win that series They win the first two and then win game three. They win 11-3 on Friday, a slugfest, 9-5 on Saturday. And then if they lose 4-3 on Sunday. Sunday's loss, frustrating, right? Comes down to the strike zone. CV Buckner, his strike zone, it favored the Athletics by 2.5 runs, and you lose a game 4-3. It can end up skewing like that just because of the situations when strikes were missed or balls and strikes were missed. And in this case, it really threw off momentum and so on for the Brewers. It's tough to see just with all the walks. And unfortunately, couldn't get the job done on that one. You were hoping for the sweep. They were able to salvage that game. Gary Sanchez had another home run in that game. He had that nice weekend I was talking about. He's 1-for-2, home run and a walk in this one. But yeah, Frankie Montez, it was one of those tough starts for him just with the strikes and so on because he's looked great. He had the strikeouts going 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, and that's what we'd like to see from Montez. And frustrating to see that. Aaron Ashby got in 2 innings though too, which was cool yesterday. Scoreless, I should add. That's always what we like to see. The ERA right now is above 5 still, so you really hope for things like that, and that is what we saw. And they couldn't get to Mason Miller there in the 9th, so he got his 21st save. Brewers are still 20 games over 500, though, rest assured. Then what we have this week, we have a total of 7 games in 6 days, a fun stretch of baseball. You got an off day today as we're recording now on Monday night. Then you got 3 games at home, only a 3-game homestand. You don't like that. You're hoping for the guys to be around longer than 3 days, but makes sense with the big homestand they had earlier or middle of August, the 10-gamer. So what we got here is we have the Giants for 3 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7:10 Tuesday, 7:10 Wednesday, 1:10 on Thursday. We got a good old doubleheader on Friday, 11:40 and 5:40 against the Reds in Cincinnati. And then on Saturday, 6:15 against the Reds. That game is on Fox. Find that on national television. Then on Sunday, September 1st, the calendar turns to September, not Craig Tember. Nobody says that anymore. It turns to Pat Murphy's September debut as manager. 11:10 on Sunday, really early there. Not even a Roku game. It's just early. So that's what we'll see. But then they come right back home to start September. They got some big games against the Cardinals. They have 10 games against not 10 games. They have 7 games against the Diamondbacks, and then they have 3 against the Phillies. So that's where I was getting the 10 games against 7 teams, playoff teams. So that'll be a tough test. Otherwise, they'll get the Pirates at the end of the year. Hopefully, they shut some guys down. Want to get some rest. Hopefully, helps the team out a little bit. But what I was saying, I wanted to talk a little bit about, other than, of course, we'll talk about some of the Brewer key hitters and wins above replacement. I wanted to talk about going to Minnesota, seeing the Twins stadium there, Target Field. The food, I will say, is not that exciting. I talked about the Slinger dog I posted it on the social media page. Right, that was in St. Louis, the iconic hot dog with ground beef and eggs. But here they didn't really have that Slinger dog. It was a lot of generic things, but there was also some good variety too. They still had some like vendors and stuff that you wouldn't see. It's not your traditional hot dog, burger, and so on. I ended up settling for the tacos, beef tacos, pretty good. Wouldn't say great. Stadium itself, for being built in 2009, you would have hoped for. I thought it would have been a better stadium. It seemed some parts just logistically it didn't make the logistics of it didn't make sense. Like there's no like main entrance. It seems like behind home plate. It was just like there was different gates across, which was fine, but there's a lot of congestion. Granted, it was a giveaway, but it wasn't just like seamlessly just enter in. The stadium, some points you can't just walk around. At some points, you actually have to take stairs down. On the second level to walk around the first level. If you just want to walk around the second level, you have to walk down the first level to come back up to the second level. Or some parts, because they have the suite section behind, it's not like its own level at American Family Field or any other venue. There's usually like the club level. The club level has some parts that are not club level parts, but you can't walk in the club level part and behind home plate. but it's also not like right behind home plate either. So it turns into causing some problems for a traditional fan or someone who's wearing Brewers stuff at a Cardinal Twins game like myself. There was a couple other people who I talked with. We saw some Brewer fans out there. Don't worry, um, wearing their Yelich stuff, of course. Unfortunately, um, but look, it was a fun game. Still is a good environment, solid stadium. It wasn't. It does not beat Pittsburgh, St. Louis. Does not beat Yankee Stadium. Obviously, I'm just naming some parks I've been to. Um, I also Cincinnati. I don't know if I mentioned that one. I still haven't done Wrigley. Wrigley's going to be the one. It might not happen this year, but next year it's happening. Go to Wrigley. I'm just going to count off the bottle parks, and I can just rank all 30. I think it's a great thing to do. It'll probably be 31 actually. I was at the old one in Texas, so and the new one. So that is what my report is on it. Solid stadium, food solid. Nothing really stood out. I know there was probably some better food options. Maybe they had some bargain stuff before the game, so you were able to get good deals on food and so on. Only until first pitch though. Then the food over doubles in price at some point. So keep that in mind if you ever travel there. Um, let's talk about the team here. So, yeah, Contreras and Churio both making some great strides to take the team, the wins above replacement. Who's been the most valuable player of the team? Looking at it that way. Look, it's been Jackson Churio the last month and a half. He has surged. He's at a 3+. We talked about this last week. I talked about he's gonna probably hit a 4 WAR rookie year, and he's not playing center field or he's been doing mostly corner outfield spots, so it hasn't been like heavily weighted defensively. He's been really putting together a phenomenal rookie year. His OPS is at 760. He's now up to 15 home runs, 18 steals, 57 RBIs, and the strikeouts. He's at 90 right now. It's not like Willie Adames is actually at 140. I didn't want to throw that number out there, but um, that's been something for him. It's just been he's been getting the extra base hits. When you have 28 doubles, 23 home runs, the batting average can be low, and you're still going to put up some nice numbers and get a nice payday in free agency. So that's what we've seen. But Contreras' numbers, so we talked about they were faltering. The power was up in August, and that's led to him now. He's up to 17 home runs. He's got 34 doubles, 56 walks. Yeah, he's having a great year. He's going to be he's one of the Brewers' best players. Obviously, he's probably the Brewers' MVP. You look at it now, like there's more guys that you can pick from than you thought. Like obviously, it would be Yelich in a full 162 if everybody's healthy, but he's right there. Terang, the bat has really fallen off. Average now down to 255, but he still has put together value as he's at 37 steals. He's going to have a 40-plus steal year with Gold Glove defense, probably won a Gold Glove. That's enough for that. So those are guys I want to mention. Also, Sal Frelick is getting it done. He had a nice week. Jared Flusky, actually, part of Joining Million, was hyping up Frelick as having a big week, and he sure did. He didn't hit a home run, but put together some nice at-bats and had a solid week as you hope for him, and that's a guy you need to put up the numbers with. We talked about his Statcast page, not hitting the ball hard, and I compared it to Owen Miller, and we know what happened with Owen Miller now in AAA. Just didn't make it out with the team the rest of this year as can play shortstop and couldn't hit the ball hard. So those were guys I want to mention. Ortiz's average is now down to 245, but when he makes contact with the ball, it's such a sweet swing, and he's a very patient hitter too. So we've seen him it's been up and down. He's still above average in respects to league OPS plus 106 right now. So you think he's gonna have a better month ahead of him. And the Brewers now their magic number, what is it? It was at 23, I believe. I've been trying to look at those numbers, but people don't or I say people, I mean like MLB or ESPN haven't really posted those yet, so don't have all the details on that. But Brewers are up 10 games on their competition. The magic number looks to be like 22 right now, is what I'm actually seeing. Combination of Brewers wins or Cardinal losses can get you that. And the Cubs are 10 games back. Reds are 12 and a half. Pirates 13 and a half. So Division looks secured. However, the Phillies did win again tonight, so they are a game and a half up on Milwaukee for that number 2 spot. And then we have the Dodgers up 3 games on us, so got to fight for those spots to ensure we get one of those top 2 seeds to get that bye in the first round. We do not want to play in the wild card round. It's been a nightmare. That's really how I'd sum it up. And that is how I'll wrap up the show here at True Sports Crew, again on all platforms. Have a great week, everybody, and then go Brewers. Hopefully, we get some nice wins here in this 7 games in 6 days. Ends up being more, right, with how the schedule pans out, but just this upcoming week stretch. Thank you all for listening to yet another episode